The forest is screaming, not metaphorically, literally. Horses tear through the trees, hooves crack bone, antlers split bark. Black dogs foam at the mouth, their eyes glowing like coals dragged from a funeral pyre. And at the center of it all, a man with one eye. His cloak snaps like a hanging noose in the wind. His spear hums, alive, hungry. You don't run. You can't. Because the moment you hear them, it's already too late. This is the wild hunt, a phantom army that rides only at night. And if they see you, really see you, you won't die quickly. Here's the paradox. Odin is the god of wisdom, of foresight, of Vav, knowledge bought at any cost. So why does every legend warn the same thing? Never meet Odin after dark, because when the All-Father rides at night, he isn't searching for wisdom, he's hunting. And by the end of this story, you'll understand why people once nailed their doors shut, whispered prayers to gods they didn't even believe in anymore, and chose death by wolves over a single glance from the one-eyed king. Stay with me. This ends badly.
Unveil the legends.
Before the horns, before the riders tore the sky open, there was a fragile peace, and it was already rotting. The Norse world lived on the edge of extinction every year, not poetically. Literally, one bad winter meant empty cradles. One late harvest meant bones showing through skin. Survival wasn't bravery, it was a habit. And the gods weren't distant. They were close, too close. They walked the roads, sat by fires, slept under false names. And none of them did this more obsessively than Odin. Odin wasn't a calm king on a golden throne. He was restless, sleepless, addicted to foresight. He mutilated himself for knowledge, hung himself from the world tree, starved, bled, waited, all for answers. Because Odin had already seen the end. Ragnarök wasn't mythology to him. It was a countdown, the death of his sons, the fall of Asgard, his own body crushed in the jaws of a wolf born from chaos. And, knowing that broke the rules, a god who knows the future stops ruling the present. He starts manipulating it. So Odin watched humans the way gamblers watch dice. He studied patterns, storm seasons, births, deaths, battles. He looked for cracks in fate, places where destiny might hesitate. Peace became impossible. Every long winter felt intentional. Every sudden storm felt deliberate. Every unexplained death felt like a message. And humans noticed. People began whispering rules to survive the night. Never travel alone in winter. Never answer a voice calling your name in the wind. Never look directly at a rider who doesn't cast a shadow, because Odin's presence wasn't comforting. It was invasive. When he passed through villages, livestock sickened. Dreams turned violent. Children woke screaming from nightmares they couldn't explain. His knowledge bled into the world, poisoning it with inevitability. That's the truth most retellings avoid. The wild hunt didn't emerge from chaos. It emerged from control, from a god who refused to accept an ending. And once fear becomes policy, something starts riding in the dark. It always starts the same way. A storm rolls in without warning. Winds twist. Clouds churn like black water poured into the sky. Animals panic first. Dogs whine. Horses refuse to move. Birds slam into trees as if fleeing something invisible. Then comes the sound. Horns. Low. Ancient. Wrong. This wasn't Odin riding alone. He gathered the dead. Warriors who never found Valhalla. Kings buried with lies instead of honor. Murderers, oath-breakers, traitors. The unwanted dead. He stitched them into an army. Spectral riders fused to their horses, faces frozen in the exact moment they realized death wasn't the end. Their armor clattered, rusted, and screaming. Their mouths hung open, but the screams didn't come from them. They came from the wind. The hunt tore through villages like a moving execution. If they passed over your land, crops failed. If they circled your home, someone inside would die before dawn. If Odin locked eyes with you, you were marked. Some legends say the hunt stole people outright, snatched from roads, from beds, from prayer. Others say Odin forced witnesses to join, stripped naked, bound to a horse made of shadow, dragged screaming into the sky, bones shattered against trees, flesh peeled by the frozen wind, minds broken long before the body followed. This wasn't justice. This was a collection. Odin wasn't saving souls. He was stockpiling weapons. Here's where the myth turns rotten, because the wild hunt was never a heroic march of fallen warriors. That version came later, polished, sanitized, safe. The older stories whisper something else, something uglier. The wild hunt wasn't about war. It wasn't about justice. It wasn't even about Ragnarök. It was about panic. Odin knew the ending, not in symbols, not in riddles. He saw it, the wolf's jaws, the snap of bone, the silence, after the gods fell. And that knowledge didn't make him wise. It made him unstable. So he did what desperate rulers always do. He hoarded souls, fear, time. There's a theory buried in pre-Christian fragments that suggests the wild hunt wasn't hunting enemies at all. It was hunting potential. Odin wasn't collecting warriors, he was stealing futures. Every traveler dragged into the sky. Every farmer who vanished during a storm. Every child who never woke up after hearing hooves outside. Each one represented a timeline where Ragnarök hadn't happened yet. In other words, Odin wasn't building an army. He was bleeding reality dry. The storms weren't natural. They were camouflage. The screams weren't collateral damage. They were fuel. And the dead riders, they weren't loyal soldiers. They were prisoners. Some interpretations go even darker. They suggest Odin didn't lead the wild hunt. He was bound to it, cursed by the very knowledge he sacrificed everything to gain, forced to ride forever, harvesting souls because stopping meant standing still long enough for fate to catch up. That's why meeting Odin at night is fatal, not because he's cruel, but because he can't afford witnesses. A living human, untouched by prophecy, represents something Odin lost the moment he drank from the well of wisdom. Uncertainty, choice, hope. When Odin locks eyes with someone during the hunt, he isn't judging them, he's erasing them. Because as long as free lives exist, the future isn't finished. And Odin, terrified, brilliant, doomed, can't allow that. The wild hunt never ends. That's the curse. Odin rides. The dead follow. Winter comes again. And Ragnarök still happens. The wolf still finds him. The spear still fails. Wisdom still bleeds out onto the battlefield. All that terror. All those stolen souls. For nothing. The irony is brutal. The god who sacrificed everything for knowledge was destroyed by it. The god who feared death most ensured it came screaming. And that's why the myth survives. Because even now, people swear they hear hooves during storms. They swear the wind speaks names. They swear something watches from the tree line when the night feels too alive. The wild hunt isn't about gods. It's about what happens when fear drives power. When control replaces acceptance. When knowing the ending ruins the story. So remember this. If you hear horns at night, don't look outside. Don't answer voices that sound familiar. And never follow a rider with one eye. Because the wild hunt doesn't chase the guilty. It chases the available. Now tell me this in the comments. If Odin knew the future, why did he still run? And if that question unsettled you, wait until you hear what happened to the god who tried to cheat death entirely. Because his punishment makes the wild hunt look merciful. That story is next.